Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Green Room Podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Colin Mitchell, looking like you just got off the golf course.
I did.
You did? How'd you do?
I am wearing basketball shorts as well, though. No.
Don't ever show me your leg ever again.
I did pretty bad. I hadn't played in 3 weeks. Driver was working, though. Driver was working. Chipping and putting wasn't good. I had a lot of 3-putts today. So we probably left 15 strokes out there with chipping and putting. But, driver was good.
Okay. Good. First time golfing without hair?
Yeah. Yes, it is. And let me tell you, it is an enjoyable experience.
It is?
It is. I will say, though, I am worried for the summer because I have a mole on the back of my neck that my hair used to cover. So now maybe I'll get skin cancer.
Well, just sunscreen every day. Sunscreen every day. We have a lot to talk about, though, Colin, with this North Texas football team, because last time we got on here, we were talking about all the transfers and people leaving. This is going to be a much more positive podcast, Colin, because North Texas is starting to make moves in the transfer portal with the 2024 recruiting class. And in general, I also want to get to, we'll talk a little bit about the departures and where they're headed, and then also some returning players, because we've talked a lot about who's leaving. We haven't talked about who's staying, Colin. So
they also just got a tight end in the transfer portal as well.
Boom. All right. Add him to the list that I sent you. So I believe that makes it 6 portal additions so far. We talked about how many players left, but they have added to this point. You can add in the tight end's name whenever after I name these 5. Running back Zach Evans from Minnesota. Offensive lineman Jasper Lott from TCU. Linebacker Joseph Jean Lewis from Iowa State. Offensive lineman Justice Guillory from Stephen F. Austin, and defensive back Xavion Bryce from Texas.
And add on Oscar Hammond, tight end from I don't know where, but somewhere.
Oscar Hammond?
Yes. It looks like North Texas was by far his best offer.
Central Oklahoma?
He was...
Looks like Central Oklahoma.
Yes.
6'4", 210. I'll take it.
Yep.
I mean, 2022 played 9 games as a true freshman, earned third team, all MIAA honors. I'm assuming this is junior college, perhaps?
Gotta be right.
D2? I would assume one of the two. Let's see if you put up numbers this year. Oscar Hammond. This is live reporting on, second in the team in receiving with 463 yards on 33 catches and 4 touchdowns. So I'll take it. 6'4" tight end from Oklahoma, as spent 2 years there and now is coming to North Texas. So add him to the list as well. All of these players except for Justice Guillory have multiple years of eligibility left, Colin.
That's big. Well, we'll see how much. I don't know what's happening with any of that. We thought Chandler Rogers couldn't leave. Well, here he left. So
yeah, I like for example, Jasper Lott transferred after 3 years at TCU. So in theory, I think I would assume one after, if he graduates this year, then maybe he could leave. Regardless, Justice Guillory is the only one who's a graduate transfer. So you have 1 year of him. Now you have 6 additions, Colin. Where do you want to start when talking about these 6? Is there one that stands out to you, or
I just want to talk to you about them as a whole? Is basically that for the most part they're drop downs, which I like. I like that 1, they're filling needs, and 2, that it seems like they're getting their guys quickly. Obviously, I haven't watched any of these people. I mean, I'm not going to claim that I know exactly how good all of them are, but I do like how decisive Eric Morris and the recruiting staff has been in getting these transfers. And not for nothing, like you said, multiple years of eligibility. It's not like they're getting like a senior. They're all graduate transfers that haven't done anything at that level. Like Zach Evans, for example, you said he was a redshirt freshman at Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota's good school for football compared to North Texas most of the time. So it's good that they're getting those types of guys. And then not only that, they seem to still be getting guys. Obviously, Oscar Hammond that wasn't on the list a second ago, and you always see the puzzle pieces that keep popping up on Twitter. So
JD, shout out JD. Obviously, does the best job of anybody tracking recruiting, tracking portal, tracking everything North Texas. He did a story. I don't know if this is exactly a story. I didn't have time to look at it, but basically he did a story on how many portal or how many puzzle pieces have been tweeted to how many players have actually committed. So how many more like players that they're expecting because of how many puzzle pieces they've seen.
Yeah.
So because you look at it, the puzzle pieces are being tweeted like every 5 minutes, and they are getting
Yeah.
a lot of players.
It's getting
But
to like a 1,000-piece puzzle at this point. Jesus.
you ever done a puzzle that big?
I hate puzzles, dude.
What's the biggest puzzle you've
Norma
ever
loves
done?
puzzles. I have helped Norma with a 1,000-piece puzzle before,
Whew.
and by help, it was like I started and got like 3 pieces, and she did the rest. So
Okay.
yeah,
Zach Evans is one that I do want to talk about because North Texas lost most of its running back room, right? We look at it, basically every running back besides Kaika Ragsdale is gone. Colin Farrar is also back, I believe. Zach Evans played 6 games in Minnesota, had 52 carries, so about 9 carries a game almost, for 230 yards. That's 4.5 yards per rush and a touchdown. So if nothing else, this is a guy that like if I told you they're getting a guy that had 9.5 carries per game at a Big Ten school, you're taking that.
yeah,
And I think for Zach Evans, obviously a big thing for him, I believe, from Rockwall, bringing guys back home. The DFW area is so crucial. And a point that I wanted to make on the last podcast, and I think we're seeing it a little bit here. You could argue the two best offensive players that stayed, which we'll talk about later, Landon Sides and Gabe Blair. What do they have in common? They're both from Denton Geyer,
yep,
right?
yep,
So there is a correlation, in my opinion, because I see it at LSU. I see it at a lot of places where you get players that want to come home, but if you have recruited them initially, like Landon Sides and Gabe Blair, you have a little bit more leeway to where they might not want to leave. You have more situations where they want to stay. Um, it's just a different approach for a lot of them. And who knows, maybe if Landon Sides has a 1,200 yard season, he could be gone too. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm just saying in a lot of situations, keeping players home and bringing players home is the way to move. And especially when you are near DFW, the way that Denton is, I think that's has to be like number one priority almost is getting players in the state and keeping them in the state because we talked about it with Seth Luttrell, where they didn't recruit players, but they didn't have their transfer portal to worry about. So, like, imagine you're recruiting these players from Nevada. Remember, they got a lot of Las Vegas
yeah,
players and Oklahoma players and Arkansas players. I mean, after a couple of years, they might want to go home or they might see opportunities elsewhere.
yeah,
So I do think that's a big thing. And you bring a guy back like Zach Evans, who, like I said, 9.5 carries per game in his or 9 carries per game from at a Big Ten school, average 4.5 yards per carry. And we've seen what Patrick Cobbs can do with the running back room, and I feel really good about it.
Not only that, too, just to throw some ratings around out there
Oh,
from On Three. Oscar Attaway was an 87 in the transfer portal by On Three. A day, I believe, was an 88. Yeah, an 88. Zach Evans is an 85. So I'm not going to say that that's exactly the same, but you're getting what you believe to be equal talent out and in.
yeah.
They only have Jasper Lott and wow, the guy from Dayton. Or
Jasper
Iowa
Lott.
State. Yeah, but he's from Dayton. Yeah, I don't know how to say that. No, Jasper Lott, but Joseph Jean Louis.
Oh, Joseph. Yeah, I just said
He's
Joseph. I just said Joseph Jean Lewis. It's probably John. You're probably right.
Gene Lewis. That
I
makes
just said
sense, but
Joseph Jean
I don't
Lewis.
know. Regardless, you got an 83 in terms of what they're rated. So I think it's worth keeping an eye on that. Not necessarily to take too much from that, but on what kind of talent they're able to bring in. So I like it. I'm happy so far with the transfers they brought in. Now, what I'm really interested in is quarterback.
Yes.
I'm how long when will you get worried that they don't have a quarterback yet? Like, will there be a point where you get worried?
No,
No. Okay.
no, no. But I did see they've thrown a couple offers around so far. I think that they actually have a good chance of getting a really quality quarterback. I think
Yeah.
Eric Morris has built up enough reputation like amongst college football people where you can sell the pitch to a quality quarterback and say like a Chandler Rogers, right? That's what you want every time is you want to get a guy like Chandler Rogers that's proven, that has tools that you can work with, and obviously can excel in your system. And I think there are plenty of quarterbacks out there that can do that.
Yeah.
I'm not too worried about the quarterback position. I think that they're going to get somebody that can play. Like I feel fairly good about that.
Yeah, I agree. I
Uh,
agree.
um,
You want to talk about the transfers where people have gone? So
anything else? Hold on. Anything else on the additions? I like the 2 offensive line pickups. Jasper Lotz from Argyle, so that's always good. Guillory SFA, we'll see how he does. Xavier Bryce is interesting from Texas. Spent 2 years there, and out of high school in the 2023 class. Geez, we're getting old. No, 2022 class. Sorry, 2022 class. Because
yeah,
he spent 2 years there. He was a top 500 player in the country. High 3-star guy. So potential there. And I don't think he's had like a bad injury. That's always my thing is when you take guys that are potentially, drop downs is the injuries. If like they've
right.
suffered a bad injury and they've dropped down. No offense, but do you remember Nick Harvey?
Yes.
Yeah, that boy
Yeah.
is having surgeries left and right and came out
Yep.
to
Yep.
Denton. I'm just like, no. But so yeah, Xavier Bryce, opportunity for immediate playing time, like guys like that. Joseph Jean Lewis, we know they need linebacker help. If he can come in and after I think only 1 year at Iowa State, like step right in and play, I mean that's a huge boost to this defense. So I like it. I like the tight end pickup as well, even though all we know about him is stats at whatever level he was playing at. Overall, happy about that. I do have written down they are in a battle. This was almost a week ago at this point. They're both North Texas and UTSA are hosting Trent Hudson from New Mexico State. Had a really good season there. So we'll see how that goes. And yeah, I think that does it for the portal. I do have a couple. They did pick up 2 2024s in this span as well. Mason
Yep.
Ferguson, wide receiver, and running back Ashton Gray. Ferguson's an 86 on 3, and Gray's an 85 on 3. So that's about what we've been expecting is that range of recruits under Eric Morris.
Yeah, which is good. I like that the mean is going up with the ratings on these people, not just from On3, but also you go down the whole list 24/7, ESPN, and all that.
Yeah. All right. Real quick, I do want to look up like quarterbacks in the portal right now. I'm just curious. They had Chandler Rogers, I think, relatively high. Yeah, they had him. I don't know where this ranks in quarterbacks, but they had him as the number 42 player in the portal. So, there's that. I'm trying to see. Just scroll down. Like, at what level do we get to the G5 is what I'm trying to see.
Yeah.
Hank Bachmeier transferred from La Tech to Wake Forest. He was an 86 rated. Like, a guy like Ken Seals from Vanderbilt, I've watched him a little bit. He's an 86
Is
as
there a
well. We'll see
world?
where he
Is there
goes.
a world where we don't take a transfer?
No, no, there's not. I know,
Catch McCollum.
yeah, I know Cash McCollum. It looks like he's the truth right now, but I just you can't go in expecting a freshman. Like if
Right.
it happens, great, but you can't expect it to happen.
Right.
So, Jeff Sims from Nebraska, I think he's right looking for a drop down potentially.
That
I
Texas
think
quarterback that's transferring, I forgot his name, Malik.
Malik Murphy, he's going somewhere big. Jerry Bohannon went from Baylor to USF. He's probably looking to stay in that range. Ben Finley from Cal. I don't know if you remember him. He played a bit for Cal whenever the starter got knocked out. I'm just looking through right now to see. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of quarterbacks, just tons of
Yeah.
quarterbacks in the portal right now. Kai Horton went to Carthage High School he was at Tulane. He started whenever Pratt was out. So guys like that. There's a bunch of options here. We'll see what they do. I'm not worried about them not getting quarterback. I'm just interested who it will be. Yeah, we could talk about the departures a little bit.
Cool.
So far, Chandler Rogers to Cal, Oscar Attaway to South Carolina, and Jamori Macklin to Kentucky. Anything surprise you from that?
I thought Rogers to Cal was interesting. I felt like when you hear Cal, you're like, okay, like that's what I thought whenever it was like that's where he's committed. I think Attaway to South Carolina is a good fit for him. Obviously, you're at a way better football school, and I think that's good for him to hopefully showcase his talent. And then Macklin to Kentucky, I think, is the most interesting in terms of will he be able to go to the SEC again and produce like he did at North Texas?
Um, yeah, I think Kentucky's actually. So if I had to rank them in terms of best outcome to worst, I think Macklin's in the best position.
Yeah.
He goes to a place where, unlike some of these other schools where I think they might have some like NFL receivers on the roster, I'm not sure Kentucky has like NFL receivers to like that he's going to be battling with. I think he has a good chance at coming in and being like an
Yeah.
immediate
Yeah. The
guy
guy
there.
almost.
Now, Oscar Attaway is interesting because I liked it when it happened. I think that's a good fit. Like South Carolina is not this like dominant football program in the SEC or anything like that. But yesterday night, South Carolina picked up a commitment from Rocket Sanders of Arkansas, the number 2 running back in the transfer portal. Basically, one of the better running backs in the SEC last year.
Oh,
And so now
really?
he's going to South Carolina. And so now I'm like, okay, well, I wasn't expecting him maybe to be the starter, but Rocket Sanders is legitimately like a NFL back or like a high quality college football back.
Yeah.
He's better than Oscar Adley. I'm sorry, but that's just the truth. So now it's like, all right, Oscar, can you get in that rotation for carries? That's going to be an interesting thing there because I don't know. I feel bad for him if he didn't know Rocket Sanders was coming.
Yeah.
But maybe he kind of knew. Maybe the coach just had transparency with him. It's like, hey, we're still going after running back, and he was like, all right, fine. But yeah, that was I liked it initially. Now Rocket Sanders is there. I don't love it the way that I did before because now that's a legit guy who should be getting a lion's share of the carries for the Gamecocks.
What do you think about Rogers?
I think Chandler Rogers, I agree. Like it's underwhelming on the surface, right? We're like, okay, Cal, like, come on now, like, but at the same time, do think the opportunity there, and they are playing in the ACC this year. We have to remember that as well. So you're playing in the ACC, and I do think the receivers and the quality of talent around Tim at Cal is a step up, and I think he has an opportunity to be one of the better quarterbacks in the ACC if he can thrive.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I don't look at it as a linear move. I do think it is a step up
I
and
don't
an
think it's
opportunity.
I don't think it's a linear move when I mean underwhelming. I just mean like I feel like he could have gone somewhere better. I guess not. I don't know who had offered him. I just feel like I guess maybe I put too much weight at how good I think he was here, and maybe he just didn't garner that interest. But I'm not
I
entirely
think
sure.
there are other like quarterbacks. I'm trying to think, but like the top quarterbacks in the portal right now, and he was up there. So if you look at it, if we say he's around that range, I mean, Tyler Van Dyke went from Miami to Wisconsin. It's like I'd rather be at Cal than Wisconsin, I think. Brock Vandegrift went from Georgia to Kentucky. So yeah, something like that. Um, Taylor Green went from Boise State to Arkansas. So yeah, maybe like an Arkansas, maybe something like that. But I do think there's a little bit of hesitation on his size still, which might be unfair.
Yeah.
But I think you look at a lot of the top quarterbacks in this class. I mean, as far as just transfers go, I think he's like the
Yeah.
only one that's under 6'2". I'm sorry, besides Dylan Gabriel, who's 5'11", or listed at 5'11". So, yeah, maybe there's some trepidation there. Maybe there's some hesitation just because North Texas didn't get a lot of big time games to watch or anything like that. But
Yeah.
I mean, we know how good Chandler Rogers is. I think he's going to be really good at Cal, and I think if Cal can just get him some playmakers, like they usually have playmakers, so I'm not too worried about that. We saw them against North Texas.
Yeah.
Um,
Ethan Miner also went to Mississippi State, by the way.
oh, is that new as well?
Yeah, that's on three has them committed to Mississippi State. So
It's not a projection.
no, it says arrow pointing 12/14/2023
Okay.
Mississippi State.
Um, I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. I think he could do very well in the SEC. I mean, I didn't think he was like a high level guy, but Mississippi State's a SEC school, and if you play well there, you'll get drafted. So
Yeah. Stone Earl also back to ACU.
Stone Earl back to ACU. That's really what we need to break down here. Can
Yeah.
Stone Earl win the starting job at Abilene Christian? No. That's the question. No, but in seriousness, we're now talking about the 3 starters at the SEC, right? Minor, Macklin, Adel, or well, Adaway
Yeah.
starting, but you know what I mean. 3 players at the SEC. Rogers going to start at Cal. I'm interested to see where Adae goes.
Yeah.
Like he should be somewhere. I'm trying to think of like a Iowa Day school. I think like a Big 12 school. I think Missouri would be great for Iowa Day with how they play. Kansas State, Missouri. I think there's a lot of Big 12 schools that could use him. Like a TCU, Baylor, so on
Yeah.
and so forth. I think there's a lot of opportunities for him to go to a good school. Any other players we're interested in watching to see? Fabechi Noel continues to tweet out like high major interest, like Oklahoma and stuff.
Yeah.
We'll see where that goes. And Logan Wilson, I think, is the other one. I think he tweeted out an offer from Kansas State or something along those lines. But yeah, he's probably the only other one there that I think has a interesting. Howard Sampson's tweeted out a couple big ones. I think Steve Leota maybe could get some, but that's really the crux of those players that are. Oh, Trey Cleveland, that's the other one.
Yeah.
We'll see where he goes. Okay. I do want to spend a little bit of time real quick talking about the returning players, the players that
Yeah.
are not leaving or not graduating because we spent all the time panicking about them. Um, I mean, it starts with Landon Sides and Gabe Blair, right?
Yeah.
Those are the top 2 returners.
I think so. I think Landon Sides is going to be really, really good.
So, okay, we say Gabe Blair, Landon Sides, Jet Duncan is another one I believe that's returning that started games on the offensive line, at least on my Google Doc.
I believe so. For some reason, I feel like I've seen his name, but I could just
No,
be
I'm pretty sure
making that up in my
Jet
head.
Duncan's staying. I haven't seen him
Okay.
at least.
Okay.
That's the top 3. Akaika Ragsdale is another one. So if I tell you, the core is now Akaika Ragsdale, Landon Sides, Gabe Blair, Jet Duncan, and Blair Conwright, Jordan
Yeah.
Smart.
Jordan Smart.
That's the core now. And now you need a quarterback, right? Like if I tell you they get a good quarterback, like a player who's 85% of what Chandler Rogers was, and you have that as like your core kind of, and they pick up a receiver or two,
Yeah, I was
obviously.
gonna say you need a receiver. I'm so confident in Eric Morris's ability to develop an offense that
Yeah.
honestly, you get any players in here on the offensive side of the ball, and I'm like, okay, yeah, trust this guy, because the fact that so many, I mean, obviously, and you tweeted it out that some of the transfers might be because they weren't recruited by Eric Morris, but
Yes.
you have these offensive players going to Kentucky, Mississippi State, Cal. That never happened under Seth Luttrell, where you have players just go. Obviously, he wasn't in the transfer portal era, but point is you're sending players that were already kind of step ups. They like ULM for Chandler Rogers, and then you have guys that have been at North Texas, and they're going to high major schools. And I think that's an impressive thing to do, across the board. So I trust him in every sense of the word for developing an offense with new players.
Yeah, and we've talked about how much we like his play calling ability. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's a real thing. So, like, the question is not can he produce a good offense. The question is can he produce an offense that is consistently like last year was top 20 in the country. Like,
Yeah.
can you reach that level when you lose
Well,
as much
I
talent?
say why not? Because the players that he had were players that he wasn't even familiar with. Like
True.
if you get guys that like you recruit, what you want out of it and everything like that. Like I'm not saying they'll be top 20 next year, but I think it gives you a lot better foundation to make the case that he can make it top 20 again.
Yeah. Um, the offensive line being as good as it was one of the. I don't want to say it was a surprise because I think before going to the year we had as one of the top units, but
I think it started slow is what the issue was.
yeah, and then it had the moments where they give up 8 sacks versus Navy, and like I said, blitz pickup wasn't great and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. But the offensive linemen, like individually going to the places that they're going to go to is an interesting thing to have to replace this year. So again, offensive line, quarterback, get a receiver, get a running back. Oh, well, they got a running back, but if you have, your 2 running backs of Ragsdale and Evans now potentially, I think you're in a good spot offensively. And I don't know what my expectations would be if that's the case. We have to see, I think, how this roster shakes out offensively, but
Yeah.
I trust them to create a top 30 offense in the country.
Yeah.
And now that like SMU's not in the conference anymore, I think there's I don't know. Did you see the schedule? That we should have talked about that. Did you see the schedule for North Texas?
I heard it was easier. I didn't look at all. Look at it all.
Well,
I'll get it
here,
up
yeah,
real quick while you
look it
talk
up.
about it.
Pull it up. I'm. It's still relatively difficult. They still have Tulane, UTSA. I think they still have like the 4 best teams in the conference. Did you find it?
For some reason the top tweet was from 2022, so I was really confused seeing all these random games.
Colin's the worst at finding things.
I'm really bad at this, if we're being honest.
I get it.
Sorry.
It's not just on their Twitter.
I mean, they tweet so many puzzle pieces. It's hard. I don't see it on their Twitter. No. Oh, here it is. I got it. So 2024. You're away. They're not in order, but you got the away games being Florida Atlantic, Memphis, Temple, UTSA. And then
exactly like that. First of all, stop right there. 3 of those games: FAU, Memphis, UTSA.
Okay. Well, I'm not worried about UTSA without Frank Harris.
They're still going to be damn good.
They'll be good, but just
they're still going to be one of the best teams in the conference.
We'll see. Temple, hopefully
Temple's an easy win.
Well, we hope.
Those Florida other 3 games, I'm just saying, like, okay, read the home games.
Army, East Carolina, Tulane, Tulsa.
Yeah, so you still have Tulane,
but there's Memphis,
UTSA, and FAU.
But
I think those are the 4 best teams.
You can't make a stretch of death out of that, though.
Like, yes, there's no you just replace SMU with FAU.
FAU is not on SMU's level.
No, they're not. But the FAU is going to be,
and UTSA is going to be worse.
FAU should be good.
UTSA will be good, but they'll be worse. Tulane will be still Tulane, whatever. So I think it's fine.
Memphis. I'm just saying, can we get a year where we don't have to play one of Memphis or Tulane? Because SMU did. SMU got a year where they didn't have to play them.
They
played Memphis.
We've been in the AAC 1 year, Bruni. Give it some time.
I'm looking. I looked at the schedule and I'm like, why do we have to play Memphis and Tulane again?
You know who we took off the schedule? We took off SMU. Okay, we'll never play them again. They're gone. We never have to play them again. It's great. Cool. I think I look at that. You say this team is on par with the talent in terms of offensive defense. If it averages out at the same talent as this year, I mean, I think you hopefully beat Army. I think you beat East Carolina. You lose to Tulane. You beat Tulsa. And then all you have to do, I think you can go 2-2 in that Florida Atlantic, Memphis, Temple, and UTSA. So
yeah, like
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Look, I think it's plausible. All I'm saying is I was like, maybe we can catch a break and play. There's no Rice there, right?
A break. There is no precedent for a break because
Rice. We don't play Rice again, right?
Good. Rice is good.
Oh, brother. I'm saying swap out Tulane with Rice. Can we do that?
Until we get that.
What about USF? USF. You want me to go down all the teams in the American right now that I'd rather play over, like, instead of Tulane? Why do we get Tulane? That's all I'm asking.
It's so that whenever the playoff is expanded and we beat Tulane, then we might be considered if we win the conference.
Charlotte. We play ECU, right? We play East Carolina, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just saying. I know FAU wasn't great this year. They were 3-5, but I'm just FAU typically has a good foundation.
FAU no longer has Lane.
No UAB next year, right?
No UAB.
Oh, okay. It's another easy win.
Are you okay? I feel like you're way too mad at this schedule.
Dude, are you not that we have to? Why do we have to play the best teams?
We are in a better conference. This is gonna happen. What do you want?
No, SMU just played the freaking cupcakes.
Yeah, you want to know why? Because SMU has a lot more money and they bribed people. Okay.
We probably go like 6-2 in conference if we have SMU
throws money under the table.
That's probably the SMU schedule from last year.
That's probably why the Mike Oresco or whatever his name is retired.
Literally. I mean, I'm just saying here. SMU schedule last year: Charlotte, East Carolina, Temple, Tulsa, Rice, North Texas, Memphis, Navy. No, yeah, that's it. That's their conference schedule. Can we get that?
They paid for it clearly.
Okay. Who do I gotta pay?
Who
do I have to pay?
You don't have any money.
This is infuriating. I can already hear people. Well, North Texas actually lost to Navy. Okay, yes, thank you for the reminder. I'm just saying.
Now we'll lose to Army instead. The same way.
Okay, wait. Do we get Army and Navy?
No, just Army.
Okay. Okay.
God, that would be just awful to watch two
That
triple
would be
options.
back-to-back weeks, Army and Navy.
That would just be
Just loss
garbage.
after loss. Okay, sorry, that was my pedestal.
You're
Defensively,
ridiculous. You're ridiculous.
defensively, let's wrap this up. Best players returning. Rod Brown. I saw his dad tweet. Shout out to Rod Brown, Stan. Junebug, I think will be back. Fadafehi Valea. Jordan Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Ridge. I haven't seen Ridge leave. Ridge
Okay.
Tejada.
Okay. None of this does anything for me because they sucked so bad last year.
Okay,
So let's
they
get into
sucked as a
players.
unit, but I think those 4 players have some upside.
Sure, they've always had upside. Every year, there's like 4 players that have upside on this
Okay.
defense. If
Phil Hill.
let me tell you something. If
Phil
if
Hill.
they
I'm sorry. Hold on. Time out. Javen Anderson and Evan Jackson, freshman.
good, Javen
Taylor
Anderson's
Starling,
really good.
freshman. So we're keeping the freshman. Phil Hill's also back. I'm not saying that this is a world-changing defense, but there are expectations next year not to be 133rd out of 133rd.
World changing in the sense that it was so historically bad. Anyways, I don't care who the players are. If this team is still like bottom 25% in the nation in defense, I'm gonna be mad.
So they have to be in the top 100 in the country.
The top set, yes, and I feel like that should be like an easy thing to do.
I think.
You know how we have been the worst defense in the nation for so long. I feel like
yes. Some people tweet out, it's okay that they're losing players because the team was 4-8 or 5, whatever it was, 5-7. Defensively, I agree. Defensively, there's nobody you could lose, and I'm like, oh no, wow, this is the worst day ever. Like Deshaun Gaddy and Larry Nixon, I think, are significantly better than anybody else in this team. Like the Murphy twins are better than anybody else in this team. So, I agree with that defensively. Offensively, obviously Rodgers and whatnot are hard to swallow. But yeah, defensively, I think they should be better. What that means, I don't know. I think a lot of it comes to coaching, and we said during the year, a lot of it comes down to fit within the scheme and figuring out how you want to run that scheme with the personnel you have. So,
yep.
All right. Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
You're so mad at the schedule. Jeez.
I'm.
What?
Yes, I'm mad at the schedule, Colin.
Ridiculous.
I'm mad. I just want a break. Cut us some slack, please. All right. That's all we got for y'all today. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We'll be back with probably after the basketball game against Mississippi State to hope and pray that they put up a fight and potentially win the game.
When's that game? 17th?
I believe so, yes. 17th. So was that Sunday?
You know what sucks? I might be at my first Christmas dinner
of
the year.
The first of many, Colin. Enjoy it.
I have 4.
All right. I gotta go do a radio call, but Colin looks like he's gonna get back on the golf course.
I'm gonna take a shower.
We will talk to y'all later. Leave a 5-star rating review wherever you're listening. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're almost at 300, I believe, 293, something along those lines.
Yep.
So yeah, subscribe, like, comment, share. Thank y'all for joining us. We will talk to y'all later.